Hello and thanks for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Jurnee Taylor and here are some of the stories we're following. Now at noon, 2 Little Rock police officers are on administrative leave today following a shooting that left one man dead. What we know right now in less than 2 minutes. The FDA is rethinking their approach to COVID-19 vaccinations. We'll share what they are thinking and how their decision will affect you at 12/18. Plus, we are less than a month away from the Grammy Awards. That performer list has dropped in. We have the details just ahead. But before we get into these headlines, let's get into this weather. Crazy few days, but we have a little peace and quiet today. Meteorologist Nathan Scott, we can't be mad at that, can we?
Good afternoon, Jurnee. The sun is shining bright. You need the sunglasses. You really need the sunglasses if you still have snow cover over your neck of the woods. And you can actually see the snow show up here on visible satellite. Where you see the white not moving in North Arkansas in the Boston Mountains, that's where the snow is still covering the ground. And also right through Yell County, Scott County, over the Ouachitas. There's a few clouds in extreme northwest Arkansas, but that snow cover is keeping the temperatures down quite a bit. Only 31 right now in Harrison, 39 for you folks in Clinton. It's 42 in Hot Springs and 44 in Pine Bluff. We're still contending with that wind from the north-northwest, about 10 to 15 miles per hour. So it adds a bite to the air. So this is what you want to dress for, especially if you're in the shade. It only feels like 22 right now in Harrison. It feels like 33 in Russellville, and it feels like 35 here in the capital city. Highs today with all that sun, we're topping out into the mid 40s, probably upper 40s to low 50s for you folks in Arkadelphia and Camden. And then if you still have snow cover on the ground, you will struggle to reach 40 degrees. Let's take a look at the rain chances, though, for the next 5 days, because Friday is looking fantastic. Warmer temperatures expected. Unsettled weather moves in Saturday and Sunday. It's going to be all rain, but next week, that's when things get more interesting. And what I mean is maybe the potential of more winter weather. More on that potential and your weekend forecast in detail coming up.
Thank you, Nathan. Well, overnight, 2 Little Rock police officers involved in a deadly shooting that ended with one man dead. We've learned it happened shortly after 1 o'clock on West 18th Street. That's near Wright Avenue in South Battery. Authorities are not yet releasing details, but we do know the 2 officers are being placed on administrative leave, which is routine after such a shooting. No word yet on the officers' names or the man killed. We are working to get more information and we'll keep you updated as we find out more later today. We now know why North Little Rock police charged Allison Boyles with murder and the death of Douglas Reynolds. We first told you about his shooting this past Sunday. Police records describe what happened when officers responded to a burglary alarm check. They say when the cops got to the scene on Lakeview Road, they saw Allison Boyles carrying an alarm panel and a chisel. She seemed calm until officers got her attention. Then she suddenly started screaming. In the house, the officers discovered shell casings leading up to the master bedroom and inside of it. That's where they found Douglas Reynolds dead with bullet wounds. Boyles claimed self-defense, but the interrogator says, based on her account of what happened, she had plenty of chances to escape safely without using deadly force. She is in the county jail on a charge of capital murder. In a THV 11 update, Tyson Foods Chief Financial Officer John R. Tyson is now agreeing to a plea deal regarding charges of public intoxication and trespassing. Prosecutors say they've agreed to a deal that would require a $150 fine for each charge. The charges stem from an incident when a woman came home to find Tyson sleeping in her bed. She believes he got into her house by walking through her unlocked front door. Tyson, who has since apologized for the incident, faced up to a year in jail for the crime. The U.S. Attorney's Office is opening an investigation into the violent arrest by Memphis police. Officers pulled over 29-year-old Tyree Nichols on January 7th. He died from his injuries 3 days later. The Memphis Police Department has fired the 5 officers involved for their either excessive use of force or failing to stop what happened. According to the department, all 5 have been on the force 5 years or less. Now, a recording of the arrest has been shared with the family, but not released to the public. State and city leaders are still working out when that might happen. The Sherwood community is grieving after losing 2 students and 3 graduates of Sylvan Hills High School in a car crash last weekend. The 2 who were still in school, Ava Luplo and Susie Prime, worked at the Humble Crumb Bakery. The owners are shutting their store down for the next 2 weeks to regroup and process the loss of their employees. They say the students lit up the room and will be remembered by their strong faith. They started working there at ages 15 and 16.
You look over and you see where they sat in church, and that seat's going to be empty. You know, we will look in the kitchen and we'll see Susie's not in her usual space, you know, and of course it's going to be hard for us. But somehow through it, we know God's care.
Owners Betsy and Ruth Peters say support from the school, their church, and the whole community makes this difficult time a little bit easier. Sylvan Hills is having a balloon release tonight at 5 to remember and honor the students. Former President Donald Trump will soon be allowed back on Instagram and Facebook, ending a 2-year suspension. A spokesperson for Meta, the social media platform's parent company, says his accounts will be restored in the coming weeks, but with, quote, new guardrails in place to deter repeat offenses. The former president was suspended the day after the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol after Meta found his posts stoked violence and posed a risk to the public safety. Trump's Twitter account was reinstated in November, but he has not returned to the platform. The Department of Transportation is looking into whether Southwest Airlines knowingly oversold flights last month, leading to the nationwide travel meltdown. Southwest says it will cooperate with the probe, but blames the December disruption on winter weather. Russia launched drone and missile attacks on multiple cities across the country overnight, causing rolling blackouts in several regions. At least 1 person was killed in Kyiv, though Ukraine claims it shot down most of the incoming missiles. It may be Russia's response to the U.S. and its allies promising to provide Western tanks to Ukraine's military. Ed Akifi reports from the White House.
Tank battles along the eastern front of the Ukrainian war are already part of the ongoing siege. And now American plans to supply some of the world's most powerful tanks have opened the door for European allies to also supply heavy arms.
These tanks are further evidence of our enduring, unflagging commitment to Ukraine.
The U.S. is sending 31 M1 Abrams tanks, enough for a Ukrainian tank battalion. They'll be joined by Germany, which is sending advanced Leopard 2 tanks. That allows Poland and other European countries to pledge similar equipment.
Armored vehicles are important. You know, you don't go after a crocodile with a cornstalk. And these vehicles, these tanks, those armored vehicles, they're gonna have an effect.
In Congress, where support for Ukraine remains strong, many lawmakers wonder what took so long.
It's really an admission of their own mistakes, not providing these tanks months ago.
While others warn this is just the start.
The West's work is far from over.
In public Wednesday, Russian President Vladimir Putin made no mention of the tank announcement, but Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, celebrating his 45th birthday, did. Thanking every American family for the global leadership and calling to form a fist of tanks, a fist for freedom. Ed O'Keefe, CBS News.
We want to take a moment to give a heads up to our viewers. We have an unusual programming lineup on tomorrow that is set to interrupt our evening broadcast. The Farmers Open is happening, so we will bring you the latest Arkansas headlines on our other platforms. You can join us online Friday night for news, weather, and sports, just on a different screen. Well, the FDA is rethinking their recommendations on when you should get COVID-19 vaccinations. More on the move aimed to simplify the vaccination process in just 7 minutes. Also, Nathan, do you know this song? Well, the sun is actually not shining in this shot. What's going on there, Nathan?
A little out of focus, it looks like. Maybe a little blurry. Camera needs some cleaning. But we got lots of sunshine out there today. Sun's going to be sticking around for your Friday. Then the weekend arrives, and that's when our next chance of rain moves in. More on that and also the potential of winter weather. Round 2, it's a possibility going into next week for parts of Arkansas. I'll have the latest coming up.